Good evening, everybody. This is DIYDave, and we are not in the garage today for a much lower key repair. The the Nintendo Switch is one of the most popular personal gaming platforms around right now. And today, a very common problem we're going to address is when these little joysticks on these little consoles break. And they can break apparently for a lot of different reasons. This one is broken. We have, actually this belongs to my son. He discovered that it was broken. He ordered a kit off of Amazon, I think it was. It includes a replacement joystick and a little cap. And it also came with a little tool kit that has some small screwdrivers, a pair of tweezers, a spudger to remove the battery, and a little prying tool to pop the case off. Repairing these is not as daunting as it seems. The biggest thing is that you're dealing with little tiny screws and little tiny pieces. So we're going to undertake to get this thing repaired. If you like DIY videos, if you like the things that we do on this channel, first of all, thanks for visiting. If you like us, subscribe and hit the notification button. Leave your comments, likes or dislikes. We like doing these and like sharing a little bit of information along the way. So thanks for joining us, and let's see if we can get this thing repaired. Okay, first thing that we're going to do is, I prefer to use a little small Dixie cup, but we're out, so we're just using a little paper ice cream bowl plate to catch our screws. Step one, we've got to get the back of this joystick off, and we're just going to take off these 4 very small screws and let them go straight into our little collector cup. There's 2. There's 3. And there's 4. All right, now, next step is we're going to take the back off of this guy. And this seemed like it wanted to come off pretty readily, anyway. Let's use our little prying tool. I think what I'm going to do is go right along here where it seems to want to kind of come off anyway. It's prying loose as we speak. Aha, there we go. There, actually I popped it loose. So there, we have the top off. We have 2 little ribbon cables. So we'll take this little spludger tool. These are usually held down with some modest amount of adhesive, so we'll have to pry a little bit. Not that much. When you're dealing with these small electronic pieces like this, it is not easy if you have big, thick meat fingers like I do. Okay, now that we've got the back off, got the battery off, now we are going to take off this little battery tray right here. There are 3 screws that hold on the battery. 1, 2, 3. There's 1. 2. There's 3. Now let's see if that gets us any closer to taking this battery tray out. Let's see. Something is still holding. Okay, it's the connection. Okay, it's the connection. The battery's actual connection, I think, is what's holding it on. That's just in the way. Okay, making sure I keep that in frame. Okay. Okay, I see what it came. There's the little connection from this small this small flat cable came out from right there, and we'll just have to be sure to reconnect that when we set it aside. So we've got that set aside. So now we're going to lift the clip holding the joystick. This is the joystick assembly right here. This is what we're going to end up replacing with the guy that's in here. So when we get really close here, we're going to flip up this little connector right here. Thank you. Flip up this guy. There we go. Flip that up, and then we will take these tweezers. There's a little flip up. We flip that guy up. I'm going to pull that little ribbon cable out. So now we've got the little ribbon cable out. So the only thing holding the joystick in are these two screws right here. So we'll take these two screws. 2. And we remove the offending joystick. So now we're already halfway home. We will now extract from the case the new joystick, and we will just put it back in exactly the same orientation as the one we just removed. So here's the new one with the stick. We'll slide that through the hole, and it lines right up where we just took the old one off. Take these two shorter screws here, and we will put that right back where we found it. I would highly advise that you pick up the kit like this one. There are some kits that sell you just the joystick but no screws. So if you don't have those little tiny screwdrivers that you need, you just have to go find them anywhere. And most household general purpose screwdrivers probably aren't small enough to deal with this, unless you just happen to have a little set. And you can't have too many tools like this. Okay, there's one small screw. Okay, put this one right back in the hole. There we go. So now, this is back where it's supposed to be. Now the next neatest trick is we're going to have to get this little ribbon cable right here. This little ribbon cable needs to go back underneath that slot, and then we'll flip down that tab. And that's a little bit difficult to show up close, but we'll give it our best shot here. There we go. Okay, I think that is in there as far as it needs to go. I think. It's a little hard to tell. Okay, that feels a little better. And then we'll flop down that little tab, and that should hold it in place, and it does. So that's good, it's grabbed it. So we've flopped down, we inserted this little flat ribbon cable here, back into the slot, and then we folded down this guy. So now, we're about done. All we've got to do now is reverse the rest of the assembly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to slide this ribbon cable back into this slot.
I need to put this back in, right?
Yeah, but I've got to put that cable back in there first, or else I won't be able to get to it. There. Okay. So now we have reattached this cable and this cable that never came out. We reattached this cable. So all that we need to do is, there's one other cable I thought that we needed to put back. Ah, right here. It was on the other half. So now,
This needs to...
okay, yeah.
I have no idea. I know it goes like...
Well, since it has a spring-loaded action, I would imagine it goes inside that
Because
little...
it gets sandwiched by like...
Right. Okay. There we go. That's got to be it. There we go. So now we got to put the battery tray back in. Put the little battery tray back in here. This will be the trickiest part. We've got to get this cable back in this little slot. And that's not going to be easy because you don't have much room to work with there. That's going to be really, really, this is going to be the hardest part of this because you have very little spare room and these ribbon cables are really fussy sometimes. And actually I need to make sure that's being oriented the right way too. Yeah, this is the way. So I'm taking the tweezers and I'm carefully taking the end of this and I'm trying to work it in this tiny little slot. I tell you what, I'm going to have my assistant here, my son is right here, I'm going to have him try to hold this. I'm going to have him hold this piece while I try to work with this little ribbon tab. It's really, and I'm not exactly sure how, yeah, if you just wanted to hold it like that. Let me guide it just a little bit. There, that helps. Yeah, go ahead and hold it, yeah. It's next to impossible to see exactly what I'm doing here because the camera is just too far away. Ah, there we go. I think I got it. There. Yeah, we got it. All right. So now, we're going to realign this over what should be the screw holes and restore the battery case. And we should have 3 holes, and I'm going to start this screw here, and for screws this small a magnetic screwdriver is just about essential because they are so small there's almost no way you can hold them on. Okay, and something else too I've noticed on these little tiny screws, when they go into plastic they don't always give you a really good bite. I've learned this when I've taken apart my cell phone 2 or 3 times to repair a broken case. And you expect them to cinch down nice and snug, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Because when those threads are initially put in, I don't know that they ever really intend for you or expect that it's going to be disassembled. And as a result, the threads that the screw cuts aren't necessarily the firmest if you take it back out. 2 more screws to put in. So I'm going to put that on the edge there, and we're going to put that back in this hole right here. And then we're going to replace the battery in its little case right here. And then this little guy was fixed, I believe, in this slot right here. Those cables are all already attached and snug. So now all we need to do is hopefully just put this bad boy back together and see if we can test the efforts of our repair. Yeah, buddy. So we have
I'm being dead serious when I say this. Kansas is beating Texas.
You are kidding me.
It is 17-14.
Sorry, little college football side note as we were doing this video.
It's in Austin.
You know, that was it. I was using the wrong screwdriver. The head wasn't spinning. Okay. So the rest of this should now go in. Since it's amazing how it helps to use the right tool. So the rest of these should be no problem. It says here. And then this screw goes here. one little screw is really proving to be problematic. I'm going to get a pair of pliers. The head on that little screw has stripped out. We've got an extra, so I'm going to get a pair of pliers and pull that screw out. I'll be right back. Okay, just getting a little pair of pliers. What you might not be able to see is the top, the threads on the top of that screw have just come undone where it won't, I can't bite it with the head of the screwdriver. So I'm just going to very carefully turn it out without risking damaging the threads. And then, there we go. So we'll say that one's no good. And now we will take another screw and we will carefully put it back in there. And that is my Basset Hound. There we go, it's going in. A caution, I'll tell you right now, the heads of these little screws are super soft and they shred almost like spaghetti. So don't put a lot of brute force power on them, because this little screwdriver that came in this repair kit is shaving off the heads of these screws as I put them in. I think I've got that one far enough in where it will work, but I may not be able to get it in any farther. And that head is now stripped out where I can't get a bite on it to pull it back out. So I think this is still good enough to work. This screw is not quite in as far as it should be, but these other three should be more than adequate to hold it together. So for the moment, we're going to call that good. I'm going to go have my son test this out, and the button seems to be working. So the only thing for him to do is to give us a test and see if it works. Okay, so here we have the switch, and we're going through a calibration step to see if the joysticks work. And he is using the one on the right side, and I will await to tell me if it works. So we're using a calibration mode.
Plus is shown instead of... Plus is being shown instead of circle when the stick is not being touched. Turn the stick to check that the circle color changes.
Go ahead and calibrate anyway, because I'm pretty sure that's saying that the plus is supposed to be shown when you're just not touching it.
It's going all four directions. So does that mean it's working?
I would say so.
All right, we have success. So it looks like we have successfully replaced the broken joystick on the Switch console. This was a pretty simple process. It only took us about 20 minutes. It's mostly fussy with very small pieces and very small screws. I definitely would recommend getting a kit that has the tools with it. If you don't already have the tools, the tweezers, the dreaded spludger has a couple of caps and it has some spare screws. It just takes a little bit of patience because the screws are really small and you're dealing with very small areas, very small little cables and connectors. But you can save your joystick and avoid having to buy a new one. So I think we've got this fixed.
It's like about $30 or $40 because a new one of these is like 30 or 40 and the kit was like 10, 12.
Yeah, I don't know if they sell them just separately anymore. You just have to buy a new set of controllers, and those are basically $70, $80 a whack.
So it looked like we've saved by, and the replacement kit was $12 with the tools. So we saved ourselves somewhere between $20 and perhaps even as much as $50 or $60 by doing this ourselves. So once again, guys, a little bit of patience, a little bit of willingness to give it a try. And we've done a repair and saved ourselves some money along the way. So if you have a Switch console and the joystick goes bad, hopefully this will help you figure out how to replace it on your own. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate you taking the time to watch our videos. subscribe and turn the acknowledgement button on, or the notification button on. Leave a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, any questions, and any ideas you have for DIY videos. We love to do these and certainly enjoy sharing the information with anybody else that watches. We certainly appreciate your time. Thanks for watching the video and have a good evening, folks. Bye-bye.